Hi, whenever you're making a quilt, we seem to just concentrate on the quilt top. But Fran and I are going to tell you all about
borders, backings, and bindings.
Keep watching.
Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Cafe, and I am here with
Donna Robertson.
And today we are going to show you all about borders, backings, and bindings. Say that 3 times fast.
That is hard to say, but I can say borders, backings, and bindings. Oh my! Well, tell us what you're going to show us today.
So we're going to start out with borders today, and the first thing I want to do is show you the woven quilt. So I'm going to step over here, and Natalie has it held up for us. Now the woven quilt is one of the fat quarter quilts from Fat Quarter Quilting Fun. It uses 12 fat quarters, and it makes this great kind of scrappy looking woven quilt, and coincidentally it is called woven. So the only thing about this particular quilt pattern, it does not have a border on it. So let's show you how to put a border on it. Let's get that on the table. Now this is an absolutely fabulous quilt with all of these gorgeous colors in it. And
I love this quilt.
It is just so much fun. I really enjoyed making it. Now this is a fat quarter quilt, and we do have the fat quarter bundle available for purchase. So let me show you that real quick. And it does have the focus fabrics, the lights, the mediums, and the darks, just like what is shown in the quilt here. Mm-hmm. And we have a variety of the bundles on our website, so be on the lookout for that as well. So this number is 8021086. It's called Nautical Weave, and the pattern is woven, and the pattern is available in the Fat Quarter Quilting Fun book. Now the Fat Quarter Quilting Fun book actually has several fat quarter patterns in it. Mm-hmm. And of course we do, like I mentioned a moment ago, a variety of fat quarter bundles available for that. Now we don't have a free pattern with the bundles.
That's right.
But if you get 3 fat quarter bundles, you get the book for free, which is awesome.
You get 8, and you get 7 patterns.
7 patterns with that. That's awesome. I love that. So this is really fun. Now, as we mentioned before when we were looking at the quilt, the woven pattern does not have a border on it. So if you decide that you would like to put a border on your woven quilt that you're making, we actually have this great little sheet. And what it is it's add a border to a 3-yard quilt. And this is on our free goodies tab on our website.
I was just about to say, where do they buy this?
So it's absolutely free. Just go to fabriccafe.com, and there's a tab on there for free goodies, and it is one of those sheets, and it'll step through how to add a border. Now, just real quick, I'm going to show you how simple it is. We are going to add a 2-inch border to the woven, and in order to do that, and of course it is stepped out here, we're going to need an extra 1/2 yard of fabric, and I have chosen this gorgeous batik that blends so well with the fat quarter bundle.
Does.
So we've cut a 2.5-inch strip. Let me just open that up here, and it will tell you how many that you need on the free goodie sheet, and then you can just add it right onto the edge of that, onto the edge of your quilt top before it's quilted.
That is great. So it just takes a 1/2 yard to add a 2.5-inch border.
Yes, absolutely. Now the instructions on the free goodie sheet also give for a 5-inch border, so that's kind of handy as well. Now keep in mind, if you're going to add a little extra border on your quilt, you may need just a little bit extra fabric for your binding.
So if they bought a whole yard of fabric, then it would be enough.
Plenty.
That's great.
Yeah, and this gorgeous fabric that blends so well with this is actually available on our website. Can we see that?
That's right. You brought this out.
Yeah, look at this. So we not only have 3-yard quilt kits and fat quarter bundle kits, or fat quarter bundles, we also have fabric by the yard.
That is cool.
And this is one of them, and it is called Como Batik, and the product number for this is 552166.
I love it. And this is so great the way that it brings out the pinks and the blues and the greens.
Absolutely
You
perfectly
did
coordinated.
good.
So let's find out about backings. Do you have something interesting for
I
us?
absolutely have some goodies for you and information about backings. So
Great.
let's do that next. So Fran, we get a lot of people that ask us how we go about picking backings. So we're going to talk about not only picking the backings, we're going to talk about how you use different types of fabric. So we picked one kit and we're going to share that with you with the fabric, and then we're going to pick those backings right in front of your very eyes. So this particular one is one that really shows off a busy little fabric, and every one of the blocks is made with the focus fabric. This one's called Sweet Times, and Sweet Times is then bordered with a different color, so it gives you this great look and it makes up so fast. Let's put that on the table and let me show you this adorable fabric.
This is so cute. I just love it.
You know, Lorelei does such a great job with cheery colors, and this was Lorelei, but we sold out of this. So Donna goes back to Lorelei, and lo and behold, she has introduced a brand new trailer.
We're so glad that you went back and got some more.
I go back and visit her site all the time so that I can buy these fabrics for you. So Focus Fabric is going to be these great trailers, and they will go in the big blocks. Then we'll border one with the little triangle. I kept wanting to say diamond. Triangle. And that'll be here in the number 2 position. And then the number 3 position is the star. Now this particular kit is available on our website, and it's 8021824, Tipsy Trailers. And it's using the Sweet Times pattern from the book Easy Peasy. Now it's really cool with this particular one. You've got so much variety, and you just might look at it and go, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
Because almost any of these colors would look good. So I just pulled a few bolts off of the shelves, and I want you to tell me which one you like as well. So I started off, I thought, well, I see a lot of oranges in here.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the other thing. When you pick out a fabric that you're going to put on the back, you just know that occasionally it's going to show, and it really brings out certain colors. So this is one choice, and sometimes I say there is as many choices for your backing as there is fabric that's ever been manufactured.
Right.
But I like this one.
Yep, love that.
But I went looking for some more so I could give you choices. Now, I'm always telling you stories about fabrics. I think this looks like the tires.
Oh, it does. You're
And
right.
I like to mimic some particular pattern on the front of the quilt as well. So when I saw this, I thought this is kind of like those little tires that have a color right in the center. See how you do that?
Yeah, that's a great tip. I don't think I've ever heard that before, of kind of repeating a pattern on the back.
Well, you know what? I just make up stuff as I go along, and that was one of them. That
It works
I made up.
so well.
So I thought this one would be a cool one
So
too.
cute.
Now
So
there's an
cute.
exception.
Okay.
Some people don't like to work with really dark fabric, depending on your eyesight and the time of day that you do the binding. And so if you have a little bit of difficulty seeing things on the dark fabric, you may want to avoid just going real dark. But this has enough light in it, I think it would work for me. I'm one of those people that I bind at night, and it can get pretty dark in there. But I still like that one.
Yeah,
I think it's fun.
That's a good tip. I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, and then here's the next one.
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if you felt like this, but whenever I saw this one up against this, I was going, well, there is just no contest. As much as I like the other two, I think this is adorable. It really pulls out that pink, but you know what? It also has a light pink in there, and it has some white in there. It has polka dots in there, so
Yeah.
I thought this was the winner for
Oh,
me.
I love this one. Absolutely love it.
Okay, so these are 45-inch wide, and this quilt is 49 by 62.
Oh.
So now what do you do?
What do you do? Can you help us with that?
I can do that. Now let me show you what we've got here. We have a free goodie on our website, and it's called Preparing a Backing for a 3-Yard Quilt. And you can get this free just by going to our website, clicking on the free goodies tab, and you will find this and many more free goodies. So what you do is you want to buy 3 yards, and we do offer the selection. So if you go in and purchase a kit, you can pick the add a backing, and we will pick out a coordinating backing. Now you saw how I picked out those 3.
Right.
I'm really particular about my backings. I don't want them to clash with the front, so we always pick out really good ones. You cut 3 yards, and then you're going to keep it folded like this, and then you're going to fold it in half right in the middle. So this is doubled. It's folded in half, and then you're going to trim off the edge.
Oh,
so
I
you can
see.
just do that.
Okay.
So this picture is like that.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Then you're going to turn those pieces. So if you just imagine turning this around, and you're going to sew them together right here. And I suggest that you trim the selvage off of only one side. And that's because if you send it to a long-arm quilter, it's really nice that they have those straight edges. I know our long-arm quilter said she appreciates that.
Well, that's pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Okay.
And we have written instructions as well as the diagrams to help you. Now let's look at one that we've already sewn together.
Oh, great.
And this is what it looks like. And see, you're going to get a seam right there in the middle of this big piece, and that's plenty of room to use on your quilt. So let's put that on the table, and we are going to let you get a closer look at that. We usually use a 1/2 inch seam when we put this together. It gives it a little bit more stability as well.
Oh, and that's for the long arm quilter that 1/2 inch seam allowance?
Right.
Okay.
And we were talking about whether or not you'll be able to see that. So let's show you what a quilt looks like that has the seam on this. This is the backing, and it has already, let's turn this around. The backing has already been applied to this, and our long arms, and I always have to do this, so you want to see where it is. We actually had to put a little clippy on it so we could find it again. So our long arm quilter likes to not center this in the middle, but your long arm quilter will have their choice. They actually have enough room in the length of that to be able to put a seam in it and position it where they want. All right. This one, let's turn that back around. This one is called Broad Strokes, and Broad Strokes is also a kit that's available on our website, and I love this one. It's a super fast one for you to make.
Okay, now do we have the backing fabric available for this
Oh,
one?
we sure do. This is the backing fabric right here. And so that is available. Now we have 2 different categories. So you can either do Donna's pick. That means that whatever we're showing you is going to be the backing that you get. And then we also have another choice. If it doesn't say Donna's pick, then we have choose a backing for me. Sometimes we do not have the inventory where we can offer a Donna's pick. If we have a Donna's pick, we have a lot of that backing.
Well, I want you to pick my backing.
Oh, I've seen your backings, and you know what? I think backings need to have fun too.
Oh,
so.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, what if you don't want a seam in your backing? Is there something you can do in that case?
Well, we have more free goodies, so let's show you what we have. We have something on our website that is going to show you how to prepare a 108 backing. Now, if you buy a 108 backing for a 3-yard quilt, you need 2 yards.
Oh, okay.
And that is going to give you enough that when you cut it in half, you will have 2 backings. So you can actually do 2 quilts.
That's great.
Now, we were just talking about not having boring backings. Now, this particular kit is called Dancing Bears. I started to say Bear Paws. The name of the block is Bear Paws. It's Dancing Bears because I turned my blocks every which way. I love this in the K fabric. And now let's look at the back of this. Talk about not boring. So we were able to get the 108 backing for this, and it is just gorgeous. There's not a single seam in this particular one. We cut it in half, and it is going to do 2 different quilts. Now let's turn that back around again. We do have this kit available on our website, and you'll find the information in the link below. All right. Now we have other things. Oh,
This
did you
is
have a
great
comment?
because the reason why you don't want a boring backing is because the quilt looks just as good on the back side as it does on the front side.
That's right. And you know, if you go to the store and you look at some of like the bedspreads and things like that, a lot of times they will have just a solid on the other side so that it can be reversible if you want.
So fun.
I like that one a lot. Okay, now there are other types of backing instructions that we have on our website as well. So this one is called Preparing Backing for a 3-Yard Quilt Using Directional Fabric. Now you need a little bit more than 3 yards. You will actually need 2.5 yards for this particular one because of the way you want to, it's the extra fabric to keep that directional
Okay,
fabric.
so it's not a 3-yard cut, but a 2.5-yard cut. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's a 3 3/4 yard.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry, I said that wrong, I believe.
No, I see.
Okay, after a while throwing all these numbers around, you know, you never know. But it's 3 3/4, not 2.5. So you listen closely, 3 3/4. It takes extra to make that directional fabric go the right way. And then simple instructions here. So this is another free goodie. And we have one that is how to prepare backing for a twin size. Now this one you will need 5 yards for a twin, and you will be able to make your, if you're using 2 kits, you can make a twin size, and that will be enough fabric to do a twin size. We also have preparing backing for a king queen, so
That's
you can
great.
do that as
That's
well.
great. And this is really helpful because all of our books have instructions for enlarging the quilts to a twin or a queen king. So
Absolutely.
and these are free instructions on our website, which
So-
is great.
1 kit makes a lap, 2 make a twin, and 4 kits will make a king queen. And instructions for all.
I love it. Now, what are we doing next?
We are going to do bindings.
The third B.
The third B, BBB. So let's find out about doing the bindings on your 3-yard quilts. Now, Fran, 3-yard quilts have become very popular. But in order to, and one of the reasons is because they make such a nice size quilt. I mean, basically 45 by 60. But in order to get a quilt that large, I chose to do an economy binding, which is a single fold binding.
Okay.
So we're going to look at that first and show you how to do the single fold binding. And the quilt that we're going to talk about here is done with the pattern Engagement with an absolutely gorgeous fabric that you know, I did have something to do with this. This is one of my lines with QT, and the pattern is called Engagement. I love it. This is the little 1/4 inch finished binding, and let's put up here, and I will show you how to do that binding in just a moment. We do have this kit available. I love this one, and we also have the backing.
Oh, I love
love
it.
the way it pops that green
It
that's in there.
absolutely does. But your fabric is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
You've just done fabulous with that.
And I like it because I really did encourage, when I was working with this, I kept saying, I want words in my fabric. And the fabric's called Enchanted Garden. And in my garden that's enchanted, we grow love, joy, and peace. And you can see it in this particular fabric. So the focus fabric is the kind of a tangerine color. Isn't that pretty?
Very pretty.
And this one will go here. And then you have 2 remaining, and the light is so important to cause the design elements to pop.
Oh, and I see the little
Yes.
joy and peace and love, and I love it. Okay.
And then these are the vines that are growing in my enchanted garden, and they are my number 3 fabric here.
And great contrast. Love those together.
Thank you. I really like this line of fabric. So this one is called Sunkissed. It's 8021665. Engagement is the pattern, which is only available in the book Quilts on the Double. So an alternate pattern is It's a Breeze, and that would look really cute too. And remember, it does have the Donna's Pick backing.
good.
So you can either do the Donna's Pick, or you can just let us pick a fabric for you.
Perfect.
Okay, so now let's show them how to do this economy binding. It's very, very pretty, and it's very simple. I have grown to love this. I think it's a lot neater than some of the wider bindings.
I agree. And actually, I've put economy binding on quilts for quite a few years now, and it's worn really well. And I have just really loved it. It makes a really nice, clean edge.
I still have the very first quilt that we made for 3-yard quilts, and it has the economy binding, and it has been washed a lot. At first it was a sofa quilt, and now it's a hearth quilt, which means I keep it folded up on the hearth. The kitties like to sleep on it. I like to kneel on it if I'm getting into the firebox to put in another log. And so it gets washed a lot, and it still has a great
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very hardy.
Okay, well, let me show you how to make that particular binding. It's super easy to do. You just cut a 1 1/4 inch piece of fabric, and then you're going to fold that in half, and you're going to press. So it will look just like this. Now I'm going to leave this right here. A lot of times, if you've not used my patterns, you'll think that you're going to do it the same way you do it with double fold and sew both of those edges to your quilt, but you do not do that. What you want to do is then take the center of this piece of fabric. So it did look like this. So you can see, let me move my hand over here. So you can see those look the same. Then you press this to the center fold, and then you fold it over and press again. So this piece will start looking like that.
Okay.
Now this is exactly a 1/4 inch, and the most important thing at this point is to use a scant 1/4 inch, which is about 1 stitch less than a regular 1/4 inch. So it's just a tiny bit, but that allows you to do the wrap around the edge of the quilt. So if you want to do it on the machine, you put this right sides together, you stitch it down with a scant 1/4 inch, and this gets folded to the back, and then I hand stitch that into place.
So you have a little sample here. Can we look at it there so we can
We
see the
can.
seam?
Okay, well let's do that then. So here's where we've stitched that to the side, and then you fold it to the back like so, and it will automatically do the little miter like so. So let me put it where you can see. So you're going to take this, you're going to fold it to the back. It will cover up that stitch. When you get down here to the end, you will go all the way down, and then this folds back to the front like so. And there, I put a pin in there. You will have the perfect mitered corner.
That is awesome. That is great. Now, I know whenever I do mine too, sometimes I use this stitch line when you sewed it on with the machine. I use that kind of as a guide for when I'm hand stitching it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very good way to do it. And it will just make this pretty little binding every time. Now, some people are so enamored with the double fold binding, they want to make a double fold binding. We give you 1/4 yard of fabric to make this particular binding. But what if you wanted to make a double fold binding? Fran is going to share with you her little secret for the flange binding.
Right.
So let's watch that.
And it's
And I'll
still
let you move
so simple. I've got some step outs. So it's very similar to what we've just done actually with just a little twist. Now, if you're interested in doing a double fold binding or the flange binding, which is also considered a double fold, you're going to need a little bit extra fabric. So don't forget that. So there is enough fabric in the 3-yard quilt kits to do the economy, but if you're going to do this, you will need to get the little bit extra.
About how much more do they need?
I'm going to say about 1/4 yard for a 3-yard quilt, for a lap quilt.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, so as before, we're going to cut a 1 1/4 inch strip of the main color of your binding here,
Right.
just like you would do an economy, 1 1/4 inch. Then we're going to take a second fabric and cut a 1 1/2 inch.
So it's just a little bit bigger.
It's just a little bit bigger, and you can see we have a 1/4 inch bigger on the bottom. Now, when you choose your fabric for your flange binding, I would encourage you to choose something that's pretty contrasting to what your original binding is in your border fabric, and you'll see why here in just a moment. So what we do is we take these two pieces and we're going to sew them together, right sides together here. And I have that here, and we've just got our seam. So you can see that. We're going to press this seam, got one here, to the 1 1/4 inch side. And then we're going to press it so the edges match, the raw edges match. And you can see here what happens is, because the one fabric is 1 1/4 inch wide, the other is 1 1/2 wide, the fold is not on the seam, but it creates this little bit of an edge.
That is so cool.
It almost looks like a piping or something. So I really like that. So very simple.
It's one of those things that makes it look like you worked hard.
And you didn't.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite things.
I agree. Okay, so once we have the two pieces sewn together, we have it pressed with the two raw edges, we are then going to sew it onto our quilt edge. So in this case, what we're going to do is the right side that you're going to see on the front of the quilt, the right side is going to be sewn down to the wrong side of the quilt. So that is a little different.
This is the wrong side of the quilt?
That is the wrong side of the quilt.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we've got the right side to the wrong side of the quilt. And once again, we're going to use that scant 1/4 inch.
And we can't emphasize that enough.
No, that really does make a difference. And in this case, we are sewing through both layers of the binding.
Okay,
Not
so
just one.
It is a double fold.
It is a double
Cool.
fold. So we're going to sew that down, and then we are going to wrap it and press it to the right side.
To the right side, okay.
Okay, and when you do that, as you can see here, I've got one stitched over here. It just creates that little bit of a color pop on the edge of your binding, almost like you put a piping in.
So how do you sew it down? By hand?
So you can do it two different ways. In this example, I have sewn it down by hand, and as you can see, I've sewn it on the front, just catching the edges of that little bit of blue that is showing there.
Oh, okay.
And if you look at the back, it makes a beautiful, nice, clean edge here. Now, you can also do it on the machine. So when you sew it on the machine, I'm going to turn this around, you're going to sew right like in the ditch of the binding.
Cool.
So right along this white part on top of that blue, which this binding is great for that because it is pretty fast. Now remember, one of the things that will happen when you do it by machine, I'm going to show the back here, is you will have just a tiny little bit of that stitch.
It's almost invisible.
It's so
too.
invisible, but when you do it by hand, there's nothing there. So that's just a personal preference, whether you want to move along a little quicker and just get it done, or if you want that really perfect non-seam look.
Well, in this day of fast pace, get everything so much on your plate, I can see where you might want to just do it by machine.
That's
and
me.
be through.
Definitely me.
Or if you're like me, my fast-paced life means I want to sit on the sofa with my feet propped up and a kitty beside me while I hand stitch.
That's true. Yeah. So let me mention something else that I didn't mention earlier. Because we're going to need a little extra fabric to add the flange, we do have something available on the website called End of Bolts.
Oh, is that what this is?
That's what this is.
Okay.
So in this case, we have our Enchanted Garden kit, or I forget what the name of this kit is, but the kit for this is Sunkissed, okay. This kit, we actually do have some end of bolts available in the blue so that you could do the flange binding just as I've shown here.
And what's an end of bolt?
So what it is when we cut our 3-yard kits, sometimes we get to the very end of that big bolt of fabric and there's not quite a yard left.
Oh, okay.
And so it varies. It could be 22 inches, it could be 28, it could be 34, and just not quite enough.
It could even be 35, but we don't count that as a yard.
As a yard. So this is a great thing, so that it's a great way to get a little extra fabric to do things like borders or flange bindings, like that. Now what's really cool too is If you've picked out a kit that you really like and you want to find out if there's an end of bolt available, all you do is you put this little asterisk in front of the kit number in the search section on the website, and then the kit number, and it will bring up the matching fabrics.
That makes it super simple. When you're
goodness,
hunting
it's
for
so
fabric,
easy.
you can find exactly what you want. And these are always available when there's extra fabric, and there's almost always extra fabric.
Right, there almost always is. Now also check out our fabrics by the yard as well. So we
Well,
have
that's
that.
true, because we have this available by the yard, so if you want extra, you could do that.
But if you're just doing a binding like this, the end of bolt would be perfect.
Perfect. Well, this has been so much fun talking about these things that most people are like not sure they want to either talk about them or do them.
Right.
And they're really so easy with 3-yard quilts.
They really, really are. And we have lots of free goodies for you on our website, so be sure and check those out.
That's right.
And
Yep.
like,
And
subscribe.
And leave us a comment. Tell us what you like and what you'd like to see in the future. We read all of your comments, and we would love to hear from you. And share with your friends.
Yes, please do. And we thank you so much.
See you later.